Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Ari. Obviously, how are you guys doing? We are chilling on the inside and a late night with a conversation that's pretty hot topic on Quora and a couple of other forums, and that is what to do when you find out, or if you find out, that your partner is cheating on you. Now, this is a two-part video. I'm going to first get into what to do if you're the person that is being cheated on and you know for a fact that he's cheating on you or trying to cheat on you. You found out maybe through hearing someone, on the phone with him. Maybe you checked his phone. You need to make sure, first of all, that he is in fact in a relationship with another person. You don't want to react just because you think that he is with someone else. You have to know. That's first and foremost. Sometimes we think our partner's cheating on us and they're not. There's a difference between knowing and thinking that he is. So the first thing you need to do is verify that he is in fact cheating on you, and probably mull it over, or if you have someone that you trust, make sure that the evidence you have is actually evidence, like a text. Maybe he was sexting someone, like sexual talk with someone on the phone. That's an indication that's cheating in and of itself. If he spends time with someone and you find out, or you run into someone, or maybe you spot him yourself, that evidence, Sometimes a guy will say, well, yeah, I just ran into this person, and, someone else will say, well, no, I saw him sitting with this girl at this restaurant for quite some time, and it's verifiable. This isn't a random person. This is someone that you know and trust who's saying this. When you can combine pieces of evidence, that is strong enough to go on. And what else? And I think that's pretty much it. And then, of course, if you just happen to catch him red-handed, those three things indicate that, yes, your partner is stepping out on you. Before I go into the second thing you must do, like subscribe, hit the notification bell for more videos like this. Now, everything I'm saying is firsthand experience. I've been on both sides of the triangle game. I've been cheated on. I've been the person who had an entanglement outside of a relationship that was in quite some time ago, long time ago. But from having been on both sides, I understand the emotions and how it kind of can destroy your entire self-esteem if you don't deal with these things as thoroughly as possible. Let's just put it that way for now. Once you verify that this is actually going on, if you love this person, are in love with this person, this is someone you've seen yourself in the future with, okay? You visualized you two getting married. You know this is the person that you want to have kids with. If you love this person, you're going to have to handle it pretty much like that woman this is not a movie review, but I need to refer to a particular movie because sometimes movies are very informing. They're entertaining, but they're informing. The movie was 2002, Vivica Fox, and it was called Two Can Play That Game. The reason I bring that up, I know it's just a movie. It was a romantic comedy. Morris Chestnut, Vivica, they had some other names in there. And it's actually a very funny movie. What I want you to refer to is, and I'm going to put a link to it in the description, is the way that Vivica had a process that she went through when she realized that her partner was seeing someone outside of the relationship. Now, he actually didn't get to the point of consummating his quote-unquote affair, but in reality, what he did was he said to her, listen, I'm working late. She happened to be going out with her girlfriends. She believed that he was working late during the week. But when she went out with her girlfriends, she ran into him dancing with someone else in a restaurant. So she ran into her own partner, her own boyfriend, out dancing with someone when he just told her that he was working late, right? So what she did was she treated him as someone who had cheated on her, because had she not ran into him, for all she knows, he could have gone home with the woman, which actually is a logical assumption, right? Just because he actually didn't go home with the woman doesn't mean he wasn't going to. Remember, she caught him, right? He said he was working late. She happens to run into him out dancing with, this so-called coworker. So what she did was she acted on the fact that he lied to her about his whereabouts, which I've seen this question a lot. Is lying worse than cheating? Is it the same? Like, which one is worse? And to me, from my experience and just from looking at couples and what they've been through, lying is setting the groundwork, right, for future cheating. If you're already lying to your partner about your whereabouts, right, or if you know that on Fridays you like to go hang out with your boys, but you specifically tell your partner that, something else, something random. I'm going home, I'm going to see my parents, it's Friday, I'm going to see my mom. But you're not going to see your mom. You want to use that as your day to like do what you want to do. You could also just tell your partner, I'm just going to hang out with my boys. Like, why not be honest? You have to look at the motivation behind why a partner would just lie to you and make sure he creates an alibi of being one place when he's really off doing other things. That is a huge red flag, and it's often the thing that precedes cheating, right? They want to somehow mislead you or they give you a false sense of calm. Oh, I just visit my mom on Fridays, but you find out that they don't. Why would they create an alibi unless they were intending to do something? Does that make sense? So that when it comes to the question, which one is worse, the lying or the cheating, the lying sets the groundwork for the cheating. There's a reason for it. If you have no intentions, why not just be honest about where you are? You're together. And I'm glad that's what my throat was fine all day, so this must be a good topic. That being said, so the lying aspect is actually a huge red flag. And often, even if you have not verified that there's anything going on, if you can verify that your partner is lying to you for some reason, that is a huge indication that he either intends to cheat or start cheating by setting up an alibi for himself. Or that he's already cheating on you. And that's just a reality. That being said, so in the movie Two Can Play That Game, Vivica goes on a whole program of how she's going to deal with her boyfriend, her man. The reason she did this is she actually cared about him. She saw a future with them too. And had she not cared about the guy, I'm pretty sure it would have been like whatever, and she would have just started dating someone else, and they would have kept it casual. But because she saw value in that relationship, she decided that the first thing she's going to do is create an emotional consequence. If y'all could write this down, write it down. The first thing she did was she created an emotional consequence just because he lied about working late when he was really out dancing with some coworker at a club at night, which to me, it's a small thing, but it's a huge thing when you think about it. That being said, so she decided to, I think she gave him a silent treatment for like a week. He was calling, and she was busy, and she was telling her secretaries, tell him I'm busy, tell him I'm busy. She did this for about a week. Now, some might say that that was her playing a game. To be honest, that was the smartest thing she could have done as a woman, because a guy who does that and lies to you, right, it tells you one thing just because he wants to spend time with some other woman. They obviously have already made up in their mind that you're the type of woman that he has to lie to just to have a little fun or just to do some casual socializing with women. So he's already assuming that you would go crazy if you knew what he was really out doing, which maybe you would, maybe you wouldn't. But the point is that if he went so far as to lie to you, right, he does expect you to go berserk now that you found out, right? Or that you caught him out dancing with a woman. He expects you to go berserk. And so by her not speaking to him for the next 5 days, she completely took away that whatever notion that he had of her, she took away a lot of control out of his hands. And what I mean by that is he expected her to go nuts. She didn't. She maintained complete calmness. Actually, when she stepped to him in the club, she was like, "Oh, hey, Key. Okay, how you doing?" And of course, he played it off. "Oh, hey, this is Connie," or whoever the girl was. But she kept her composure, right? Very well. She was a basket case on the inside, but she kept her composure. And, you know, her girlfriends were giving her all kinds of crazy advice, trying to amp her up and ask her if they wanted to, you know, beat him up or smack him in the back of the head. You know what girlfriends do. They try to rile you up to create some scene. No, she kept her composure. And she just said, "No, silent treatment for a week." That was her creating an emotional consequence. Now, at this point, he's going off his mind. He is. He's talking to his boy who's giving him bad advice about how, "Oh, man, well, you got to get her back. She's trying to control you." His friend was like, I call him the little devil on his shoulder, because his friend was no help, if you ask me. The problem with what his friend was doing was he was making it some type of battle of the sexes. But the fact of the matter is, he was the one that was wrong. He's the one that lied to his girlfriend, said that he was working late when he really went out dancing with some woman. That being said, there's no reason for him to retaliate by doing things to offset what she was trying to do, which is what often happens in real life. The minute you try to pull back, take control of yourself, not go crazy when your man lies to you, right? And start setting boundaries. Men get bad advice from their narcissist peers, right? And just sort of get into this back and forth. Now it's not a guy versus her. And, "Oh, okay, you don't want to call me? Okay, cool. Now I'm going to go see other women." So it escalates. And then we all forget what actually was the premise, and that was you lied to your girlfriend, right? Now, obviously, he called and tried to apologize, but what she did instead was she created an emotional consequence. She created a boundary, right? A pop-up boundary. He didn't expect it. And so now in his subconscious, he is understanding that the whole lying factor, even if he didn't go and have relations with this woman, that lying factor, it's going to create a consequence. There was a whole shift in her demeanor, and he hated it, right? And I think that was actually very positive, because now that we understand that that is a framework for cheating, she let him know, okay, if you're going to lie to me, then I can also, sever at least a portion of my emotional ties to you. I'm not going to get upset. I'm not going to show you my emotions. I'm actually going to create more distance from you, right? Because he had an opportunity to be honest, and he didn't. He decided not to be honest, which indicates intent, and we don't know what would have happened had she not caught him. He could have ended up going home with that woman. And so she treated him as such, as someone that is a lying spouse. And she did that because she actually saw a future with him. So she's like, listen, if there's a blunder here, if there's a red flag, this was her modality of dealing with that red flag, letting him know lying doesn't work with me. Now, she could have been more honest and said, I'm not appreciative. I think she took a little long to talk to him. But, they had to get it a little dramatic for the movie. But she could have called after 3 days and said, you lied to me, right? And I'm not okay with that. Like, she could have been more honest about her feelings earlier. I'll give the movie that much. But she didn't. She let it go on, and then he retaliated, and the movie just got really funny. And then there was this other girl, Connie, that he went dancing with. But I like the fact that the movie allowed a woman to, instead of doing the typical screaming, cursing, crying, grabbing a wine bottle, pulling the girl's hair, instead of turning it into a Jerry Springer moment, she decided to deal with this in terms of process. She took full control of her emotions. She created an immediate boundary. She created an emotional consequence, right? And that what would have happened had they not added all this extra comedy, she probably would have been like, okay, we're going to be together. This is what it's going to be. Or they would have talked it out. And had she been honest and said, listen, I can't be with a person who just randomly lies. If you wanted to see someone else, you know, we've only been together about 1.5 years, I think. Well, did she say 2 years? I don't know. But the point is, the whole lying thing, he treated her like a 16-year-old. She's, you know, she was an accomplished woman, just as accomplished as him. There was no reason for that unless he intended to cheat. And so in her mind, he did cheat. And so yes, lying and cheating are actually at the same level because one leads to the other. So we're going to go over what we said. You create an emotional consequence. You create a boundary. You communicate. This is where they both dropped the ball. You got to communicate. This is why I didn't speak to you. This is why I didn't speak to you. Right? What do you want from this relationship? She could have asked him straight up, do you want to see other people? Even if it would have hurt. I would rather know whether you want to see other people and leave it at that. Let him do that, because a wise sister once said, she actually said it today, she said, if a person doesn't appreciate your presence, right? If they don't appreciate your presence, then bless them with your absence. As much as you might love, it doesn't matter how much you love them. If they are so fickle with your presence that they can start lying to you and go out with this person, then clearly they want to explore their freedom. Let them explore their freedom, and simultaneously you do the same. In fact, spend less time with them, because whatever's in their system, perhaps they think the grass is greener on the other side, and that's what happens in all relationships. We always think the grass is greener on the other side. We let other narcissist children, men, I call them children men because the narcissist guys and brothers and male friends that we have, they're just pounding their chest and doing things that they probably would never even do in their own relationship. They probably go crying to their girl when something happens, but they're telling you, yeah, man up, you know, and fight back. And, you know, they're telling you stuff that they would never even do with their own girlfriend. Okay. Girlfriends give bad advice. Boyfriends or male friends give bad advice to each other. I see it happen all the time. This guy on the sidelines is bigging him up and telling him, oh, go dance up with some other girl, and it just becomes this never-ending sex war. And then the couple is not actually dealing with the problem, which is the fact that he's introducing this whole lying creates some alibi element, right? Which obviously is a huge red flag. It means they have to either start seeing other people, okay, which again, if they have any future whatsoever, if that's what she wants to do, because she could have been the one that wants to see other people. If that's what she wants to do, at that point, she needs to go do it, and he needs to let her. That's the only way you're going to decide whether or not you have any future with that person, is by giving them your absence. When someone doesn't appreciate your presence, you bless them with your absence. Let them feel the absence for as long as possible, because then they, in their quiet hours, have to weigh how much they mean to you. They have to weigh that. Or they have to weigh how much your absence actually means to them. Because what happens is when you're around someone, they take it for granted. They think you're always going to be there. They think they could run around and sleep with the world, right? Sleep with every Miss America contestant in the world and come back, and you're just supposed to just be there. Like you have no other existence or no other purpose but to wait around for them to go through women, you know, and as if you don't have options as well. And that's a lack of appreciation. It's not good for a relationship anyway. And so the best way to deal with someone who doesn't appreciate your presence is by blessing them with your absence. Simple as that. And that helps because, again, if they decide or they discover that they do actually appreciate you in their lives and want you there consistently, they now have to work, because you may not necessarily be there when they get back. That's number one. If you even decide to allow them back into your life. More often than not, you don't even have to lay down the rules. They already understand. Okay, the whole problem was they didn't understand how to appreciate you. And if your presence meant something to them, when you come back, the treatment, right? The treatment level goes through the roof. It's better, it improves. I've seen couples break up for quite some time and get back together and have a better relationship than they've ever had because both parties had to go and do a little growing up. I've seen that happen. It doesn't happen often, but it happens. And what I always say is two people that were really meant to be together, it doesn't matter how far apart they are, how much years they spend apart, right? It doesn't. I've seen couples get back together. I actually have a family member who got back together with our high school love. And they had a brutal breakup, but they got back together and spent many years. I think they're still together. I mean, this was after 12 years. So, but everyone kind of just knew they were just kind of an amazing fit. They were like a yin yang. Some people just have yin yang energy and they just match, period. So that being said, I think that the reason we don't want to go this method, you know, that saying that they say, what do they say? If you love something, you set it free, and if it comes back to you, it's yours. If it does not, then it never was. I think I read that when I was 10, and I had no idea what it meant when I read it the first time, but it's actually very wise. Very, very wise, whoever wrote that first, because it's true. If you truly love someone and they, you know, have honest, genuine, authentic feelings for you, you let it go, you set it free. Even if it means that they go and mess up their life and run into brick walls, or you do it, they'll grow eventually. And so will you. And if they have any or develop any real, true, authentic feelings for you, they'll be back. It doesn't happen in all cases, but it happens in many cases. And if you will have them, then you can have a healthy relationship. But usually, again, you have to grow a little, they have to grow a little. Sometimes we meet people too early, or sometimes we meet people too late. But it's true. If you're too afraid to let someone go, then maybe they aren't yours. Because something inside you makes you feel like they'll never be back. And if you feel that way, why do you want them? We'll go into codependency in one of our deeper relationship talks. Right. Yeah, I actually did a short video on it. We'll do a nice one on codependency, but sometimes we're clingy in relationships, and it deals with self-esteem issues, deep self-esteem issues that a lot of people don't admit that they have. But I feel like the majority of people have self-esteem issues on some level, especially with our relationships. And we cling to our partners based on our need for them, as opposed to our actual authentic love for them. Or we confuse emotional need with love, right? It's two different types of things. And a lot of us are not really taught love because we haven't experienced love, because even the way our parents love us can tend to be very confusing and distorted, right? But these are conversations for another day. And so we go into relationships not even really knowing. We go in to learn what love is. You know that song, I Want to Know What Love Is? That's really what people are trying to figure out. We're all just trying to figure out what love is. And every day I turn around, it's being redefined. I do know what love is not. It's not ridiculing your partner in public, making demands. It's not expectation. All of that is more 3D lust-based, egoist. Once you're dealing with ego and expectations, that has nothing to do with love at all. You can learn what love is by knowing what it's not. Some people think love is sex. Right? That once you can have that department on and popping, that you have a good love affair. You have an affair. Right? But one is one, and one is the other. You can have a partner, a mate for years and actually don't have actual love for them, or vice versa. Maybe comfortable with them. So many of us settle for people we're comfortable with. And we don't realize it until we meet someone that we actually love at first sight. Then we realize we're with someone that we shouldn't be with. And all these things are lessons. I kind of want to see your feedback. I'm going to watch this video again. It's getting late though. If you guys have any comments, definitely let me know in the comment section. We'll do a part 2, hopefully tonight, because I'm feeling a part 2 coming on. If you liked, let me know. If you didn't like, let me know that too. I'll see you guys on my next video. Thanks for watching.